What is absolute value? We are going to be learning today about absolute value and what it means. So before we get into some examples, I kind of want to show you a little number line here and define absolute value. So the absolute value of a number is simply going to be the distance between the number and zero on a number line. And it's just that simple. So how far away a number is from zero. Okay, so the absolute value of a number is written inside the little bars, as you can see here. So any number inside those little absolute value bars. So they put the variable a to represent any number, a for any number. So it could be, for example, here we have the absolute value of -2. Well, -2 on the number line is plotted right there. Well, how far away is -2 from zero? It's simply 2 units away. So the absolute value of -2 is 2. And then you have the absolute value of 2. Of course, well, 2 is graphed on a number line right there. Well, how far away is 2 from 0? It's 2 away from 0. Okay, so those examples hopefully give you an idea. Now we're going to get into some more. It's supposed to be pretty simple. Find the absolute value of 8. What this means is, how far away is 8 from 0? Well, it's simple. It's just 8. Okay, so again, if I had to graph it, you'd have 0 here, and let's say I put 8 there, and 4, and all the numbers in between. Well, how far is it from 8 all the way back to 0? It's 8 spaces, okay? So it's just 8. On into the next one, we can even deal with rational numbers. So this reads, what is the absolute value of 1/4? Well, how far away is 1/4 from 0? 1/4 is simply 1/4 away from 0. So that's dealing with rational numbers like fractions and decimals. So we can even get into negatives, right? So again, how far away from 0 is -7 1/3? So the way you picture this is the absolute value of -7 1/3. How far away is that from 0? So on a number line, you've got 0 here, and you'd have -7 1/3 to the left. Well, how far away is that from 0? It's just 7 1/3. That's the answer. You'll notice that your answer cannot be a negative because distance from 0, I'm going to go back to the definition here. I'm going to key in on this word distance. Is there such a thing as negative distance? Can there be negative distance? The answer is obviously no. You can't have a negative distance. I don't care if you're driving south. You're not going negative miles because you're driving south. Okay, so that's the key part to this absolute value, is it's always going to be a positive value. So now we can get into comparing using the absolute value. So this reads the absolute value of -4. What is that? The absolute value of -4 is simply just 4, because it's 4 spaces away from 0, or 4 from 0. We have to compare that to -2. Well, you should have learned in elementary school that the alligator eats the bigger number, right? So the alligator here has to face this way, right? So that right there is the greater than symbol, because 4, and to read this correctly, you would say 4 is greater than -2. Why is 4 greater than -2? Because it would be further to the right on the number line. If I had to plot these, it would look like this. 4 is right there. -2 is right there. And 4 is further to the right. So the numbers that are further to the right are larger. So the absolute value of -4 is greater than -2. Let's go ahead and do one more. This one reads, complete the statement using less than, greater than, or equal to. Remember, the first one, that's your less than symbol. That right there is your greater than symbol. And then, of course, the last one is equal to. All right, so 3 9/10. We have to figure out what symbol goes inside the box compared to the absolute value of -3 and 9/10. Well, keep in mind, absolute value is distance from zero. So how far away is -3 and 9/10 from zero? It's simple. It's just 3 and 9/10 because distance has to be a positive value. So we're comparing 3 and 9/10 to 3 and 9/10. Well, that's obvious. It is equal to. So the biggest takeaway I'm going to write up here next to absolute value is basically that it has to be a positive value. The reason why it has to be a positive value, keep in mind, is that it's all about distance, and distance can't be a negative. That's absolute value.